Hi, Kwite. How are you?
Hi, Julian. Hi, Sam.
You didn't say how you are.
Sorry, I'm like old-fashioned, man. That's just how we say hi.
Reveal no information about yourself. It puts you at a disadvantage.
Have you guys never had that? Like someone says, "Hey, how are you?" You just say, "Hey, what's up?"
Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Keep your secret.
So I wanted to have you on, Kwite, because I was listening. I haven't gotten through it yet because I'm not a good friend, but I was listening to the Xbox video, and it's really interesting to me how that video came together for a lot of reasons. The
Xbox video being...
Oh, yeah.
No, go on. Keep interrupting me.
Yeah.
I've been working for like the last half a year or so on like this big monster called Mark of the Beast, and it started as like about the Red Ring.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of became like a Xbox sort of retrospective with a lot more emphasis on like the 360 and like everything before that. And then just kind of babbling about everything after, because I left Xbox after the 360 generation. It was my personal interest informed the bits I gave love.
At many such cases. I'm surprised that there was no like cheeky editor's note at the beginning wherever you said, that's why this video is 2 hours, and then I look at the timestamp and it's the time code and it's over 3 hours long.
I didn't realize it was going to be 3 until I was like putting it all together.
Many such cases.
It's funny because the last time I did a big video, it was like an hour and a half, and I said I'm never doing one this long again.
I cannot relate to that, dude. That sounds awful. Man, it's really great. Just knowing how much work is going to go into things over here, and then just sticking to that.
The envy of my eye.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, the videos that Sam and I are working on right now is going to be an hour long.
Is that your longest?
Yes.
Holy shit.
God willing, it will be out before the end of December. It must happen, and so it shall.
Good luck, man.
New YouTube video will come out before December 2024, no matter what. I have that on my door.
Shut up. Stop talking about the Star Wars documentary.
I'm never going to stop talking about it.
It's never coming out before December 24, bro. Like, we're already in that bitch.
Not if I can fucking... Okay.
Time travel?
So yeah, this is one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on, is because I had a very fun experience and am having one watching the video, because half of the people I know worked on that video.
Yeah.
And I was about to say that, like, I didn't, I didn't, but if you count me mailing you a few Xboxes, then technically I guess I also contributed to it.
Yes, you did have a hand in it.
I suppose.
I think those Xboxes didn't end up making it on the chair, but they were in a transition bit where I just, like, dropped the same 5 Xboxes that weren't on the chair over and over again, and then cut it off before you heard the sound.
I don't think I've gotten to that yet.
Yeah, that's really deep in.
Okay, yeah. I've only gotten up to the part wherever 2005 and the 360 is about to come out.
Oh, darn. So you haven't seen the Red Ring bits, man. That's the craziest part.
Oh, damn. Oh, well, I'll get to it. But like, so far, the reason the thing about it that really got my mind bouncing around is that, you know, it's easy for me to tell whenever someone who I know has edited something, because, you know, all the people who we know and that you hired have very distinct editing styles. Mm-hmm. And more than a couple of them just used their voice at some point, so it was a dead giveaway. Like, the writing styles of different people I know also came through in ways that I was not expecting. Like, the first time I heard you say some variant of, like, you know, thing, like the Xbox, it pissed me off, because like, that's a me thing, and I don't like that it's breaking containment. It's not good enough. Like, that needs to stop spreading. That's not good.
I remember I told you a story where, like, Sam put those notes in the script, and I was like, oh my fucking God, he's the reason Noodle's like this. And then I'm like, I'm telling you this, and you're like, actually, no, I gave Sam Julian brainworms. It was vice versa. It's my fault that has happened to you.
Sam and I are a very bad influence on each other in terms of writing. It's it's a negative feedback loop that just keeps on getting worse the more we work together.
I should say Sam helped me write this.
Yeah, no, I said, I could fucking tell. I could really tell.
Oh, hi, everyone. I did a lot of fun editing, mostly between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m.
Oh, that's like when most of my writing happened too, and like my editing and shit, and a lot of the recording, dude. Like, if I'm being honest, I think my neighbors hate me.
Oh, dude, I was talking to Ed while he was because, dude, it is actually crazy how many people who I know while I was like crunching on other stuff were all like together throwing everything they had into this video all at once.
Your computer was working on it?
Yeah, computer was working on it. Fucking Ed was working on it. Sam was working on it. Billy was working on it.
Billy?
At least one other person I'm forgetting.
I'm trying to think. It might have been like a friend of a friend who you might know. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Because there was a lot of people. Like I was like digging into my bag. Like I think by the end, like 13 different editors worked on this. 14 if you include me.
Good God. Jesus.
Yeah, and like a lot of it was like the longer sections where it's like we just got to do this fast, or it's like the section's 24 minutes. Everybody take an 8-minute chunk. And that was like where a lot of it came from. Like when we had less time per person, it's like I don't want any one person doing a 20-minute chunk in like a few days' time.
Why did you make me do that, Dad?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with this video. Is like I've got probably close to 100 cardboard cutouts to work on. I cannot be editing this at the same time. I got computer to help me with that part. I might end up outsourcing more of it to other stuff as well. It's a lot.
Dude, it with the Xbox video, it got to a point where like I was like, I cannot wait till I'm done writing this to start recording. So I just recorded the bits that were finalized, and I think like I was still writing like 2 or 3 days before like the final footage was done.
God, that's nightmarish.
I mean, like when you have the set, it was a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I
don't know how it ends yet.
To this day, I still don't actually know how the video ends.
Computer had the same experience. They were working on it for so long, and at some point they submitted their work, and just like some days later, it's just, there it is. It's in the subscription feed.
Yep.
What was the reason that you were like trying to get that one out so fast at the end? Like, was it self-imposed or like was there?
T-Steps launch. I was already late.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
They were actually pretty cool about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you have a really good relationship with them, so I assume they would be cool about it. Sponsors are usually a lot more chill with you if you've like worked with them before. Like, if it's new relationships, you never want to screw that up. It's weird how much it can mirror just like a person relationship, because believe it or not, these corporations are run by people. It's crazy how this works.
Yeah, it was also like a matter of like part of it like was personally. It's like I just want this out of my goddamn life.
Oh, like cannot relate to that.
Yeah, I'm sure, brother. It was like it was also like first. I don't want to get too on the like into the. Yeah, I'm really happy with the merch that I dropped with it, but it's like
no, you can go off.
It's like
podcast
first
about making shit,
right? So it was like first clothing I dropped in like 4 years.
Yeah,
so it was like I wanted in like first like time I've changed hoodie in like 5 or 6. So I wanted to put that with something special.
Oh, you're just repping that from now on?
I'll probably like go in between, but I just really like that hoodie. So yeah, probably going to be doing it more.
Yeah. I mean, considering the skin stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like, I have it on the VTuber model too. So like it's consistent between like everywhere I show up. I can't believe you let a commentary channel pop your feature virginity, by the way.
What are you talking about? Oh, dude. Oh, you think this is the first one? This ain't coming out till next year.
Yeah. By the way, viewer, assuming that the video that we're talking about has already come out, the hour-long one, we're still not done. Very much in the fucking minds on it.
It's December 7th at the time of recording, and the goal is it has to come out before Christmas. That's the only like non-negotiable thing of it, and I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come out until like a couple days before, that's how you know things got really bad. Because like ideally, I want it out like at least a week or two before that. I just really don't know if I can make that happen. I got a lot of other shit that needs to get done in December, but this is the one thing that truly is non-negotiable.
Sam, remember when the Xbox thing is supposed to come out in October?
I do remember that. A lot has changed since then.
Several things.
Hey, Kwite, this video we're working on was supposed to be less than half its original length and come out 2 months ago.
Oh, man, I just can't relate to that process.
Yeah, no. It's a shame that none of us can relate to anything that we do in tandem and never work together in any capacity.
Yep. That's what this whole podcast is about.
This is the last episode of the podcast.
Dude, Sam, I have had enough of you for like a fucking lifetime, dude. Your notes, your criticism, everything you have to say about my work, fuck you, dude.
Every single one of those notes that was just a personal attack on your character, I meant. So
I wouldn't want it any other way. Dude,
Oh, it's bad.
How much of a shit post has Haze become on this show already?
yeah, I don't actually know how much we've talked about it, but like this is another thing. I kept having this experience where because I was doing edits between the hours of like midnight and 4 a.m. I would do edits and suggestions and then forget about them. So something that I started doing was like putting Haze bits in, knowing that they were all being cut. And this culminated in, we were reviewing notes on a Discord call.
You and Haze, dude. I thought I had it bad. It's not okay.
Dude, you're gonna love this. We were in a Discord call going over a whole bunch of notes that I had written the night before, and I was also discovering them again for the first time. And in one of them, I think it was on like you were talking about the PS3 yellow line thing.
Fuck you.
And I added some
Fuck
comment
you.
that was like much like something else that's yellow on PS3, and it had a link. And you were like, I don't really get it. And Kwite clicked it, and it was a link to a Bing image search of Haze.
Why Bing?
Because Microsoft, dude, we got into the weeds about like how the Zune might have sabotaged the 360's development at one point.
Oh yeah, God, love the Zune.
The worst part was like I like crashed out. That's the wrong way to use that word. But like I just started freaking out on like Sam, like for the amount of like Haze references when I was like scrambling to like like finalize the script. And there was like this one particular bit, and I'm going to read this word for word for you in Sam's draft notes.
Oh my God.
I'm so
The
excited.
cell processor was, by all accounts, fucking weird, extremely powerful if you know how to use it, but also hard to manufacture and make games for. I mean, for evidence of that on the PS3, look no further than the, what's that one game? You know the one I'm talking about, Kwite. You know in your heart of hearts exactly the one I'm talking about. You're going to delete this italicized bit, but you can never outrun the poll of real Shane Carpenter games.
Real Shane. Why you have the protagonist's full name committed to memory?
Yes. Apparently.
Wow.
I guess.
It got so bad. He just like to refer to it in the abstract.
I get that the whole thing with Haze is like hexagons. They're like bees and stuff. And so they called him Shane Carpenter, like a carpenter bee. But they really could have just had his last name be Haze. And it's such a missed opportunity. It really pisses me off.
Like Hayes is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I would have.
Well, the other thing is that Jesus Christ was a carpenter, and that's probably like the second best protagonist.
Next to Shane Carpenter, right?
Yeah, Jesus Christ and Shane Carpenter are
Lots
kind
of
fighting
cinematic
for
parallels.
first place.
Jesus was real. That man existed at one point. You
Oh,
can't
right.
say
Shane
he's
Carpenter is also real.
exactly.
Great talk. This is why you guys worked so well together on that video. I'm seeing the synergy right here.
Yeah, we discovered it in the hours of dawn, twilight, whatever the fuck 3 a.m. is.
Whatever the fuck 3 a.m. is.
The only bit that I like distinctly remember putting in the video was the one where I just kept repeatedly implying that Saddam Hussein was like a major part of this story.
Dude, like the amount of times that it like came around to being like true, like is ridiculous.
What?
Like it started with the PS2 fucking
I
like,
remember
Saddam
that bit,
Hussein
right.
story, right?
Right, yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then like I found out later they made a supercomputer with PS3s, and then there was like all these
what?
like that. I think it was
Who's
the Air
they?
Force who did that.
Okay, I was gonna say the way those two thoughts flowed into each other really made it seem like you were like Saddam Hussein did it.
There was like a few other like references to like Saddam Hussein that just popped up in the research, and the craziest one was not found by me researching. It was my fucking editor Nina. She found a graphic from a magazine that like was
I saw this.
That was
fucking crazy.
comparing the sales of the PS2, the Dreamcast, and the Nintendo and all that. And the thing that set the Xbox apart was that the company that made it did not sell their technology to Saddam Hussein. Like,
No, it was even the one that maybe there's multiple of these, but the one that I remember seeing in the video was the one where it's like made in America. Who?
oh yeah, their country didn't
A
sell.
country who took the fight to Saddam Hussein.
It was genuinely incredible because she was asking, should I crop that bit out? And I'm like, no, you don't have any idea how perfect this is. Like,
Yeah.
that was like the most fun I had, like with anybody who had questions about Saddam Hussein is like, that's the through line of the video, you know, right?
Yeah, I just remember concluding it with like realizing that the day that he died kind of timed up with one of the Xbox 360's final milestones, and it just felt like closure. It just felt correct narratively.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't think his death date made it in to like the final one.
No.
That's sad.
I think I might have missed that note. Shit.
It was something else. On this day, Saddam Hussein was killed. This was not a coincidence. Just implying that it is directly tied to the journey of the Xbox in ways that you will not elaborate on.
It's just weird how much it kept coming up like authentically.
Yeah.
I think the other bit you did that like made the whole way through was the HD DVD format like being really awesome.
Really?
It kind of is though.
Dude, the best part was Trini was desperately trying to convince me to buy a Xbox 360 HD DVD player.
You should save it from the landfill. It's a cool thing, useless thing to have.
That's the thing is, as we were researching this, apparently they started to fail en masse.
Cool.
That's so sad.
I remember Trini was actually a big help with Trini's a friend of ours. Was a big help with like getting a lot of like the Xbox stuff set up, like the incredible Joe Biden or Barack Obama Blades theme.
Oh yeah.
Like finding an Xbox that had it on it already, wink, was like a pain in the ass. But I remember we were like fishing through every individual box because I had a working 360 controller from my childhood, but all the battery packs were corroded. And like so we like spelunked through like all 20, I think it was like 30 Xbox 360 boxes, and we found one single battery pack in them that didn't have like battery acid at the bottom of it. So like we just got it working by the skin of our teeth.
Wow.
It was like, straight spelunking, man.
Yeah, I love big projects like these for exactly reasons like that. It's it sucks because big projects mean big work. But
it's the journey.
The more you take on, the more liable you are to fall down the stupidest of rabbit holes.
Shit starts happening when you make room for it to happen.
I mean, the first episode of this that we ever did was exclusively dedicated to all the weird shit that happened while making that King Kong video that did not make it in, and we still didn't cover everything.
Yeah,
I want to say I explicitly included King Kong in this video because of that video.
I figured. I'm honestly shocked that more of it did not make it in.
Yeah, it's beyond like the launch. It being a launch title, I couldn't really find a way to worm it.
I'm surprised. Well, because one thing we didn't touch on is the fact that like the King Kong video game was the first way that homebrew modders were able to crack into the 360 and run code on it.
See, I didn't know that.
How did you not? But
I forgot
you
that.
worked with Trini on it, and Trini was like really insistent upon telling me that whenever I was making the King Kong thing.
Trini might have told me about that, but in my defense, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, boy, I could tell, dude. Ed told me about an experience that he had talking to you at one point while you were in the thick of it. You started giving him a bunch of instructions that he didn't understand, and eventually started referring to him as Nina, I believe.
Oh my god.
Your mind was so not right due to the overwork that you just thought you were talking to a different person.
So Nina was editing the second part of like the chunk, and I wasn't referring to him as Nina. I literally just sent the doc to the wrong DM.
Ah, okay. He made it sound like it was a bit more of a conversation.
No, he's like, what is all this about? And I'm like, sorry, wrong person. And then obviously that turns into me going into psychosis, which I probably was, but
I hardly even spoke to you during that time, which makes sense because I figure you were hardly speaking to anyone at that time.
Oh no, I think it was literally just like editor calls and then just back to the cocoon.
How long did that go on for? Like, how long were you in that state? Because like I can't be there for too long. I'm already pushing it like right now, and I'm still like giving myself a little bit of time on occasion, but
I was slowly like weaning into it like in the month before. Like I was still doing my normal uploads, and then at a certain, I think it's like 2.5 weeks before, I'm like, okay, we're just locking in, and then like it lasted till upload.
Jesus. So there was like a solid 2 or so weeks wherever it was just nothing but.
Yep. I think I did several all-nighters. Sam was afraid I was going to die, but I did crash out in a good way.
Yeah.
I made it through though. Like when I did sleep, I slept like good hours and like
Well, that's good.
I was eating.
Yeah.
That's good.
And not like trash because I'm like obviously you need to be up.
The convenience factor, it's so alluring.
Getting food and water in the habitat. You know how it is.
Yeah, like it wasn't just a G-Sups. It's like propped up front.
The fishbowl started to go back to the right color.
Dude, no, it's like, because here's the thing is that it's always really distressing to see from the outside. Like, you've seen me routinely do the thing where I'm like, here's a problem that I don't know how to solve, and I'm just making the executive decision that I'm just simply not going to go to sleep until I've solved the problem, which can lead to me working until like 10 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, and I can concur. More than a little distressing to see happen live.
Right, but from the inside, it just feels like a choice.
Well, because it is one. That's the crazy thing, Sam, is that is in fact what's happening. It is a conscious choice that you're making.
I knew what I could pull off, with my limits, because thankfully not the first time I've done it. I think this is probably the worst it's been, though.
I'm not surprised.
I'm just not doing this for a while, man. Like, fuck I'm not doing this as long. I'm just not doing this for a while.
Yeah.
You can't trust these big projects to stay moderately sized.
Yeah, I'm just going to read Reddit posts.
Well, they don't look like big projects when you start them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Red Ring itself, like, if I kept it to just that, this is like a 45, 50-minute video, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
And, like, maybe I keep, like, the Xbox bit. That's like a Bass Pro-sized order. That's doable. And I don't need to have the trouble for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool turn of phrase I might adopt from you.
I mean, because the last one was Bass Pro, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you meant. I just am imagining how many people listening don't, and were flashbanged by that.
Do you remember, like, when I got home from MagFest, just, like, grinded out that script and then went to the, like, Memphis a week later?
I don't. I don't know if we spoke after that. Probably because you were grinding it out for a week straight after MagFest.
Yeah, I finished the video the script at the Pyramid.
Oh my God. Jesus.
In like, that kind of helped me though with like scope creep. Because like it's like I'm already here. I'm going to be here at these dates, so I have to record it while I'm here. My cameraman is not going to be free to push this trip back. So some things get axed.
You know, this guy that I told to point a gun at my head is really helping me appreciate my time management a little bit more. So
yeah, I mean that's happening with this project to some degree. Probably not enough, but to some degree, those decisions are already being made. Like I'm having to tell myself not to do certain things for the sake of this coming out at some point in my lifetime.
Yeah. The last chunk of the Xbox one, which is like the fall off, it was just basically everything after the Red Ring. I think that's the longest chunk of time, and it is like only 30-ish minutes.
Yeah.
I got like way into the weeds with like so much other stuff. It's like this is the one that's going to have to suffer because it's unfortunately the one I have the least immediate interest in.
I've been reading about like video game history stuff lately, and it's crazy to know about all the stuff that even like the stuff you went in on, how many details were still not included and you could have included and it would have been good shit. Like there's so much info dumping. That is a video that in many ways is just like a slew of information that is like generally pretty cool and interesting, but you wouldn't think from the outside looking in that there was a lot of decision making happening on what not to include, but my God.
Yeah.
I didn't get to mention the DirectX party that was like Greek themed with live lines and everybody there was wearing togas.
Yeah.
Like DirectX 2.0.
Yeah. I learned these videos do have a structure to them because what I'm used to doing is very narrative stuff where you're trying to trim out everything that doesn't build directly to the main theme. But like in a video like this where one of the main roles of it is just to deliver a lot of information, the things that you decide to cut aren't tangents. It's okay for the video to go off course and detour as long as it eventually ends up back in the direction it was always going. So the things that when like I was making suggestions I was suggesting to cut were only the dead ends. And I didn't start that way, but I wised up quick.
Yeah. I was going to ask because like this was your first time working on anything quite like this, and until that point, I know you've like worked on you've helped other people with scripting stuff in the past, but like it's mostly been with me, right? Like I've certainly leaned on you the heaviest. So to go from that to Kwite's monumental task of a video must have been kind of whiplash, because the goals are so drastically different in terms of what we were trying to build.
Yeah, no, is a lot of figuring it out as I went.
The editors I've spoken to, especially Computer, had the same exact problem because they're working on the Bass Reeves thing right now. And like most of the early notes I was giving them was like, you're editing this very, very whiplash and tangential. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm coming off the Kwite video. It's like, yeah. Yeah, we really need to not be doing that for this project.
Yeah, you let air hang. Like, you have like a much more intentional sense of like timing. I'm very much like a TikTok brain guy, and I guess that like comes off what I usually make. But
no, but it makes sense for the kind of thing that you're making too, right? Because like, especially, and you'll forgive me if any of this sounds like downplaying. I don't mean it for it to be. But I do sound like a dickhead sometimes whenever I talk about this sort of thing. But like, the goals of what we make are just like very fundamentally different, right? Like, I totally agree. Sam can attest that like the both of us, again, we're a negative influence on each other. We kind of spend a lot of time deliberating over the tiniest of things,
and we still fuck it up.
Oh yeah.
Trust, same here. One
of my biggest things is that like, the script is extremely intentional, so everything around it also has to be very intentional. So like, if an edit in any place ever does not add to the script, it needs to go. So like
not just add to, but like, it has to be focused in a very specific direction. There's not that much wiggle room.
Yeah, it has to be complementary. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves for certain kinds of content is whatever in edit is, even if it's in a vacuum, funny. Like, I have ADHD, so I'm very easily distracted by like tangential things. So if you just throw something on screen while you are trying to make a point about something that is goofy and unrelated, I'm going to focus on that, and then I'm going to lose the train of thought you had me on. And so like, I despise that kind of thing. But it works for a video like yours because like, a lot of the information being told is like information for the sake of information. And like the editing adds to that because it's just it's more brain stimuli.
There's not like a lot of great visuals for a lot of the things that are just text blurbs.
Right.
But also consider this: if you got distracted by a bit and you felt like you missed something, you're gonna back up and the watch time goes down. That's not why I do it, but it's like during the slop, it like has the similar effect.
Yeah, no, for me that just pisses me off, and I tune out the visuals if that happens more than once.
Yeah, like I assume that, especially like in a long one like this, that a lot of it's going to be background, but you could watch it and get stimulated enough.
Yeah, and I like the video for that reason. Is like it's very accommodating to different kinds of viewer, which is a really hard thing to do.
That's actually means a lot to me. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I also do want to compliment the fucking volume of research that you did, because when you initially approached me, one of the things that you said was like, you wanted someone basically to help fact check what you were doing, and I think that's probably the thing that I did the least. I think the most that I did was like, in one or two places I raised a question where something didn't seem right, and it usually ended up being that you had more information there that was cut and it just needed to be reintroduced. But like, you did so much fucking research for this. It seemed exhausting.
I was gonna ask, like, what was the motivating factor for that? Because you certainly didn't have to go quite so crazy on the research element of this video. You did not need to dive as deep as you did, but you were citing sources both for visuals and for the information you found a lot of the time. You were like, I could tell just like as a viewer that like a lot of care was being given to like, you know, making sure that what you were talking about was based in reality rather than rumor, which is something that most YouTubers don't give a fuck about.
I appreciate that, because I feel like that's probably my strongest aspect with these longer ones, is the research. But it's a lot of it is like, if it's going to be so information dense, and like that's the major, like that's the meat of the video, then it should be substantiated. And like, it's not like literally citing everything like it's MLA, because a video essay is not an essay.
Yeah.
But if you can even call this that, it feels more just like kind of a Babylon.
It's a weird middle ground of sorts.
Yeah. But with the research, it's like I wanted to make sure I know, like, whatever I'm saying, I'm at least getting from somewhere. The issue is, like, even if I'm like reading things to like narrow it down, I think I have a problem narrowing it down. Because part of what I read for this was like Dean Takahashi's 360 Uncloaked, and that's like 400 pages. I read the whole thing in like 2 days and note took while I was doing that.
I don't know how you can. At a certain point, I feel like I reach an upper limit of stuff I can learn in a day.
I mean, a lot of it is like, it's easier to note take than to synthesize the notes into something consumable. It's like those happened at separate points.
Okay, you know what? No, if you were doing like the sticky note thing, just like highlighting as you went, then yeah, no, that makes sense.
A lot of that was like resource gathering for things I knew I'd need later. It's like I have the physical book, but I also like bought the ebook. So it's like I could screenshot and like point to the page this came from instead of having to like claw my way. Like, where the fuck did I get this from? Because I know I got it from somewhere when I'm actually trying to write it. Yeah. It's like having all that in one place helps the writing happen faster.
Something I definitely should have done for this video and did not.
I didn't do it on my last one, so I know that feeling, man.
Yeah, well, live and learn, crush 40.
It's like I had to re-find the blurb in the 3-part article, my favorites. My biggest regret was not getting to include more Shadow the Hedgehog in this video.
Why Shadow specifically?
He's literally me, and he's my favorite.
Okay, but like how...
It's his year too, buddy. Well, not anymore when this goes up.
Okay, but like how much Shadow-related information did you have to cut from a 360 video? That had to be so tangential.
No, there was no Shadow the Hedgehog information. I just wanted to do more jokes about Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Like, the Sonic 06 doesn't get mentioned once, but it's part of, like, the set.
Now that is restraint.
I think there was, like, bits that I, like, feel like should have been included that I just missed, but I'm obviously blanking on them now. Most of it was, like, in that last chunk because it was the most... It was, like, skim it over so much, like, with how the streaming hell... And therefore, a lot of modern game UI is kind of the 360's fault.
Yeah,
for getting Netflix in living rooms.
I'm surprised at some of the details that didn't make it in for stuff that I knew about. And I wonder if that's just like you didn't uncover it during research, or if it's just like, oh, this is long enough, it has to move on, or whatever.
Hey, hit me. I'm curious.
There's so like during the press event that Microsoft held, where they were like, yo, we're getting Doom on Windows. It is gonna be through our new DirectX thing, right? And Bill Gates is dressed like a school shooter.
If you haven't seen that video, audience, viewers, fans
so
of
good.
Julian,
it's so good.
It's really good.
Fans of Julian, not fans of Sam.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Do you remember the band that played during that party?
Guar.
I seem to remember that at some point, like they were there, like mainly to lean into like the counterculture Doom thing that they were leaning really hard into. At a certain point, certain parts of Microsoft's like Microsoft higher ups at the party were so deeply upset with how how not straight and narrow this was that they demanded that the show stop. And they did not get to play the whole set. They stuck security on them and like they forcibly shut that show down before it was done because it was too vulgar for them.
I think I read that in the Shack News article, but like I tried to kind of just condense the Microsoft higher ups' disdain with when they got told like, oh, that was a 4-foot penis shooting blood. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting though, because like the reactions from the Microsoft people there were so varied. Some people looked at the 8-foot vagina made out of dildo thing and like burst out laughing after an extended period of silence. Others were mortified. It was really, really mixed.
Yeah, and like I feel that probably had the downstream effect to where like Xbox has to be its own office. Get this shit out of here.
Yeah, but like back then, before Xbox was even like a proper consideration, there was like this really active culture war inside Microsoft between the people who like, you know, were trying to make the business stuff and the people who were pushing for video games. Because especially back in like the 90s, right? Like,
oh yeah,
the culture of gaming was so infantile.
There was like a wider parallel I think me and Sam were trying to fit in there where it's like how gaming fundamentally shifted culture at Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Like from the inception of Windows games and like trying to like mask that on or like graft that onto how Xbox shifted a lot of culture like within gaming itself, but also like just wider media consumption, like with the online stuff and also like streaming. But it just, I was having a really hard time trying to paste that on as like a wider narrative tool. And I just, I couldn't swing it.
Yeah.
See, like this was like this was like months ago, like early writing. Like I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, dude. Like that's the reason that what we're working on, one of the many reasons that what we're working on right now took so long to put together, and it's still being put together right now, is because we've agonized over all the different little narratives that make up the story we're trying to tell and how they are pieced together and form like a larger thing.
Are you allowed to just say what it is? Because the video is supposed to be out by like the time this podcast goes out.
So it's a video about a video game that never got made. It was canceled during production, and we basically I got an all access pass to all of the communication that was ever done between the team while developing it. As in, I was invited to their work Discord server, and I'm still in there. So I just pull up the DMs and look at what they said to each other while working on it.
Dude, if I had VTuber tracking on my face, like my jaw genuinely dropped.
It's crazy, right? It's really just really crazy.
It is a thing that is not done for very good reasons.
Yeah, the amount of trust that Zolavir, head of the studio, friend of Sam and I, has given me in letting me do this the way I'm doing it is kind of insane. The way we chose to handle telling this story, because like, you know, the whole reason he suggested this is because he was like, he's very, he and the team don't like that they had to cancel something. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to revive this one, at least right now. And so this video is kind of going to serve as a eulogy in a way. It's just a way for them to show that hard work somewhere. And Sam and I, being assholes, decided what better way of getting the viewer to empathize with the way the developers feel about the game than by getting them on board for the process and not telling them that it's going to be canceled until we reach the point in the story that it got canceled.
That is exactly what I expect out of you. Holy shit.
So like, so we're not like, it's just genuine twist. No one who's watching this video is supposed to know that this is a game that's not coming out until you're like mostly done watching the video. It's like, it's this really
evil people.
Yeah. No, but everyone everyone who worked
on
the
white man strikes again.
But everyone who worked on the game really liked the idea. So
yeah.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. I'm really excited for that one.
Well, me too. I'm excited for it to be fucking done.
Yeah,
can't relate.
It's been difficult because of how terrifyingly transparent a lot of the people were with us. It feels like because the original idea for the project from Julian was Julian went to Oliver basically saying like, can you give me a fucking layup? And just you have a new game coming out.
Yeah, can I just like do a little thing on your game, just like and instead he gives me gold, but the gold is very heavy and it's gonna take a lot of work to carry it back home.
Yeah. And even then there was no idea of like what this was about to turn into, because you did an interview with Oliver directly about the process of making the game, and outside of the very beginning and the very ending, almost none of that is in the video.
Yeah,
because
a lot of it, like that interview was simultaneously research for me too, because that call is where I found out a lot of the fundamental details about the game and how it got made, and you know, some of them were wrong, but it was the only context I had up until that point, because before then I had no idea what I was getting into. That interview is where I learned about the project.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and even then I still had no idea just how much work this was going to be, because his story is not the story of the game, and everyone who worked on this has their own story, and those are all interesting. And so the process very much became about finding out what angles are the ones that will be best for moving this along, and like who to focus on and how to like balance the different perspectives and points of view and how that changes.
To walk it forward in time, the next thing that we did after you interviewed Zolivir was you and I wanted to assemble the team together and get like a group interview of just getting everyone's thoughts, with only like a very vague plan and some points you wanted to hit. I remember floating the idea of not having Zolivir in that call just because we were like, you know, we didn't, I was curious what people would say if they weren't able to defer to him and his recollection of events as the team leader.
The creative lead and also their boss.
Yeah,
the dynamic will inherently be, even though Strange Scaffold is it's a fantastic environment of people that has been cultivated, where everyone feels pretty comfortable talking about stuff the dynamic is inherently different if he's in the room versus if he's not.
Oh, yeah.
Then a lot happened.
We didn't realize how big of a decision we had made until, I mean, not even after we had done the recording. It's like the more we went back to it and tried to write the story, the more we realized like all the insane ripple effects that our approach had on the entire story.
Because I mean, there were moments that happened on that call, like realizing that one of the members didn't know the game was canceled until the call started. They didn't realize that that's what was happening. And another person, it's like only realized when Julian popped in the chat to do the project.
We started talking about it.
Yeah.
Like they found out gradually during the call.
Yeah, and that is on recording. There's a lot that happened. And those moments were able to play out differently because it was, just the team talking to each other without Zolivir present. And so the next thing I did while moving so many times was like just Julian notated the entire fucking interview, and then I just started trying to lay out all of the clips in order, color coding them with like whose plot line, trying to figure out what the fuck the story even was about.
You look at like a million different details and like, obviously chronology is the easiest through line, but whenever you're looking at so much stuff, just raw information, uncategorized, unsorted, just splattered across a timeline, making sense of it is an agonizing process. You have to start small and work your way back up.
It's an experimental process, as in I just like there was no other way around. Like part of the reason I did that was so I could just start putting different clips next to each other and seeing how it made me feel, like I was probing my little fucking petri dish.
Yeah,
dude, dog shit segue, but it made like hearing about y'all's process with this and like with the Xbox video made me realize I need a better fucking organizer of info than Google Docs.
Quite. In the wise words of Conan O'Brien, when you're doing a show and stuff, if you don't say that it's a dog shit segue, people probably might not think it's a dog shit segue. It's crazy.
Calling it a dog shit segue makes it a good segue, though.
No, that's not where you.
Oh, so the thing I was gonna say is that, you have a really fascinating way of organizing your scripts. So what Julian is doing is what it feels like for the first 1 second of looking at a page of a Kwite script, because it is just like, and it's not because of the content, because the contents are, there's a lot of good information there, but it is just a giant block of text written out in order without that much organization or structure to it visually. And I don't know how you do it.
That sounds horrible.
But it works.
I remember keywords and Control F.
That's terrible. That's actually horrid. Awesome. That is a nightmarish workflow.
But for reference, it is like 11 like text size Arial, and it is 60 pages.
Yeah,
and it's just a wall.
It's a wall.
Whenever I work with Ed on the scripts sometimes, and he does the same thing. Like he'll do paragraph breaks, but it will be like he'll go almost an entire page without breaking into a new paragraph. And it's like, what the fuck?
Kwite doesn't usually do paragraph breaks because Kwite's not a coward like Ed.
Well, yeah, but here's the...
Can I just share screen what this looks like with you, Julian?
Audience, listen to Julian's reaction and fucking...
I'm just gonna fast scroll this for you.
All right, I'm still... Okay, I'm in. Oh, no.
Still scrolling.
What? It's not... the worst.
There's some highlights in there
because you do have like chapters on the left. Chapters.
I'll say the reason I do it like this is because it is the most like space efficient when you're using it on a teleprompter.
Oh, okay.
And so you suffer early so that you can suffer less later.
Yeah, when I put this on the iPad and I fucking blow it up to like 70 text size, it's like it saves a lot of time when recording.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, see the difference with I think Ed's workflow pisses me off more than yours now, actually, because like his videos are a lot closer to how I structure mine, in that like you line up points and like you agonize way too much over every little thing you say, and then over time you very meticulously build together ideas that build on each other and like lead the viewer to ideas and concepts and conclusions and other stupid bullshit. But he will just not separate like small ideas in the script. He will have like a massive like 4 parts like entire segment just in one blob all together, and he doesn't even have chapters sometimes. Like it's just all this one amorphous thing. It's horrible.
Yeah, so my thing is like my organization comes across like separating every major change I make across different versions of the document. Like this is draft V7, and then I like keep like when I'm adding a new major chunk, I make a new version of it, so I have whatever edits I made or like whatever stage of the script it was at preserved somewhere else.
Yeah,
and the research is a lot more like organized than that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, especially now that I know how this works in practice, I can't really give you too much shit for this. Ed, I can give infinite shit for.
And he's way more fun to give shit, to be fair.
Oh my God, yeah. Mainly because no matter how much shit you give him, he will always win. Like, he'll always have something better to throw back at you. It's really infuriating. When are we going to have him on, Sam?
When he makes something worth talking about.
Oh my God. Good God, dude.
I had a segue in mind, and that just kind of... do I just do it anyway now?
I think you do. I think you
it's
just
not
brute
dog shit if you don't bring it up, bro.
That's not dog
now we
shit.
got called
it's
back.
It's just hurtful, straight up.
This is /JChat. I swear to God, he helped write my video. He helped write mine.
You're like pleading for your life right now is what it sounds like.
Yeah, because he can kill me. Have you seen the size of that man? Dude, you forgot how tall I am.
He's a very normal-sized man.
I'm not.
So...
Yeah.
The thing I was gonna bring up before we started like threatening and counter-threatening our friends was we had like several clashes in the way that we work and think about scripts on this project that we really haven't ever had before and had to figure out like on the fly.
Are you talking about the one that you and I worked on for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Sorry,
know.
I'm looking at the Xbox Panda profile picture, not the Richard Nixon profile picture.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I genuinely, I don't think I told you this while we were going through it, because why would I tell you this? But now that we're not in it anymore, I can say that more than once the way that you chose to work on things pissed me off, like actually. And there's not even like a rational reason for the things that you did that annoyed the shit out of me. It's literally just like, this is not how I would do it. Stop. Fuck you. Stop. And I've since adopted a lot of those practices, like on the timeline, pushing up things that are more potentially useful than others is a pretty good way of keeping track of footage.
Yeah, I learned that from a guy who like straight up child labor exploited me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I should have done that to you.
I learned it from a guy who pisses me off.
I'm not gonna lie, like Sam had a lot of really good notes that I did take, but there was like one bit I like refused to give up on. He's like, I don't really know how much time we should spend on like Halo, and I'm like, because it doesn't have a lot to do with the wider thing. I'm like, no, instead I'm gonna bring it up as a touch point 3 more times so it does matter.
Yeah. No, it worked.
I mean, I've definitely had moments like that with Sam, wherever he gives me a suggestion and I'm so adamantly against it that I push in the other direction and win him over.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I don't even think I tried to push him. I just ignored him.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I worked Halo 5 into the script somewhere
you're a bad person.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. No, see, the stuff that I was thinking of.
Yo, where the Jaga or Domni fans at?
What
keep
the
going?
fuck are you
Not
talking
in this fucking call, I'll tell you that.
Real ones will
but
get
no,
it.
so the stuff that I was thinking of was less.
They're not
like,
real. They don't exist.
The stuff that I was thinking of was less like how we use DaVinci Resolve and more like just structurally the way that we think about stories and script writing, where like you were very adamant on going through things linearly, and I like blocked the movement of the script early on because I just couldn't get to the threads that we were about to follow in that way. Did you remember that at all?
No, not in specifics.
Because there were several times, because the way that I think about scripts and stories is very much like, you know, when I was editing and looking at all the footage and putting it next to each other, I was just trying to find what the big moments were that could come from the ideas that kept recurring. And then how do you order those so that
that's just not how I think about this.
Yeah. It's very much like I have this really abstract jumble of things that have connections in my head, and then I just kind of have to keep reordering them until it makes sense. And that was
and
like,
from the outside looking in, not being able to follow that train of thought until it has materialized in some way, it's fucking infuriating.
I had some of that working with you where I was like, there were genuinely like parts where like I was like, information is like part of like a narrative, even if it's like informational. Like there's a lot of value that I think I got out of getting to experience that.
Oh, same. I must stress that like at the end, your input made this video astronomically better than if I had not been leaning on you to the degree that I was.
Agreed.
But also, you kind of fucking suck, dude.
yeah.
If you consider that I'm always right, you're a fucking idiot. But
Listen, all right, I'm rubber, you're glue. All right, we can leave it at that.
I literally pay you to help me,
and I'm gonna put my lips on you.
So at the end of the day, like, whose say actually matters when you get down to it?
The viewer.
Whose channel?
The viewer.
True. The people
Always.
decide. Who won? Who's next?
What the fuck you, man?
Like that's what happened. Does this happen to y'all where it's like when you've just like spent too much time on one subject, you find a way to like reference it, like little tidbits, whether they made it in the video or not, like in everyday conversation.
It's not good. It's not a good tick to have. It's pretty bad. I need to stop thinking about King Kong on a daily basis. I think it's been like a year.
It has. The amount of times me and Ed just described something as like getting schlenkered. Like was really bad.
What the fuck is that?
Sidney Schlenker was the architect of the Bass Pro Pyramid before it was the Bass Pro Pyramid.
Oh.
And Ed like did a lot of editing on that video. So like we just that was like also some of my favorite parts of like getting a lot of people we know to work on it. It's like I can just give them my brainworms via osmosis, so they have to understand a lot of the references I make.
No, dude, that was like one of the weirdest parts of watching the Xbox video so far is that like I see the ripple effects that I have like done onto people, and then they like infecting your script with it. And it's like, it feel like there are more than one occasions in that script that feel like I suggested a joke, even though I in fact did not do that, because I've just had such a bad influence on the people who I write with.
It's also very cool that like we just all know each other, and then I'm like, I know a guy. Like, like you can like just pull like onto this shit. It's like, I'm doing a big video on like gamer stuff. Sam. Yeah. I do wish like you had gotten a little further, because I think like the biggest challenge of that script was writing like the Bumpgate segment. I don't know how much you know about Bumpgate, Julian, but it is by far like the most.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, it is like. It was like an NVIDIA controversy where they had a bunch of chips that failed in like HPs, Macs.
Oh, damn.
Like Dells, and like
it sounds kind of like the capacitor plague that happened in the early 2000s that it killed most Gen 1 Xboxes and is currently killing most Gen 1 Xboxes.
Likely related, because the issue came down to TSMC, or likely came down to TSMC. It's not been confirmed, but basically all fucking like marketing, or not marketing, journalism or reporting done about it is fucking gone. It's only on Archive.
Oh yeah, and even then, like Archive is not a great resource. When you go back far enough, it can be really hard to unearth dead links if you're looking at like 2000
Thankfully there was like this one like really dedicated like psychospoke like poster who curated them all in one place. Also, shout out RIP Felix's video, because he's the only reason I know to look at this.
Wow.
But apparently a lot of like the TSMC was like the semiconductor company. They had like apparent issues with their silicon that caused a lot of issues in NVIDIA products, including potentially the yellow light of death in the PS3, that were like near identical to what was happening in the 360 with the red ring with ATI, who they also supplied. It was like
interesting.
Fucking like when you get to that bit, it's like it's supply chain, so fucking sucked to try and write out. And like there's so much in the air, but like
researching supply chain stuff is miserable, awful. Hate doing it.
I think one of my notes was that you should like make a conspiracy diagram, and then you did it in MS Paint.
which it looked really cool. I used like clip art and shit, like for like each level of the supply chain. But I'd love to hear what you have to like say on that, like if you get that far, like later on.
I will.
Yeah,
I will eventually. It's a 3-hour-long video, man. It's small chunks.
Like I don't blame you at all.
Small
I don't blame you at all.
I don't do things like that in one sitting.
That's fair. It's just because so much of that was. It felt core to the story of like what actually caused the red ring, which is the ultimate question.
Right.
But it was like so far above my comprehension like before it. Like I think it took me like 4 months to finally understand like on a base level like what it was.
Yeah, having Sam there would definitely have helped with that specifically.
It's like specifically that bit. It was just like me poring over the same documents and like just trying to find like the source shit. I'm like, oh, solder bumps.
Solder bump.
solder bumps.
You're giving me flashbacks. This is I can't talk much about this project because I don't know when it will be out. But this reminds me of whenever I had to like learn how to read an electrical engineering diagram in order to modify a car.
Oh, that sounds AIDS.
It sucked up an entire week of my life, and the solution was incredibly stupid, and I didn't need to learn any of those diagrams anyway.
Feel some of that? Feel some of that?
It was really tough. Can I pivot real quick?
Go for it.
Quite. I want to pitch an idea at you real quick.
All right.
So the idea is called Greg Go. And it's kind of like Pokemon Go, right? This is Sam and I were talking to Jello about this. We think we might really have something here.
Yeah, I was just thinking because like I have a blank spot in my calendar and I need to fill it with a new project.
Right. And like,
I don't know why you're laughing.
Sam, help me out. You can help me out with trying to like,
Yeah. All right. So fucking sit down. Greg Go.
I wasn't standing.
Sit down.
Sit down again. The idea behind Greg Go is that, augmented reality, mobile, global, all of this stuff is really big right now.
Right.
And Pokemon Go is such a sensation.
It's like it's the new hotness.
It's the new hotness.
Have you guys heard about what happened at the Oscars?
Did they like catch a Pokemon?
Continue.
So the idea with Greg Go is that like what if you took the core idea of Pokemon Go, if everyone has the phone and you use GPS to like put spots down where people can catch Pokemon, and instead of making the Pokemon, because that's an expensive proposition.
It's not just expensive, but like it's been done.
It's played out. It's gauche. It's a third word.
We're looking ahead.
We're looking ahead. And so what if instead of having the Pokemon or the Digimon or whatever, you just picked random users of the app and everyone has to go and catch that guy?
I'm pretty sure human trafficking is illegal.
So whoa. Okay, so first of all, we never specified what you would do when you get that guy. All right, that shit you're bringing to the table, I don't endorse that. I'm just saying
the app doesn't even need to specify what get means.
I think everyone knows what it means to get Greg.
Yeah,
I feel like defining it. I feel like defining what getting it means is like crucial. Like if you want my investment,
it means when you find that guy,
to be legally unliable.
You need to. All right, look. Here's how it works. Okay, is you get the app, right?
Nay, I say
you get the app. First thing you do.
I'm holding my phone. I'm envisioning
and it's like it doesn't. You don't know what it's even called, right? Like it's just an app. It's called something inconspicuous. It doesn't matter. So first thing that happens, it opens up. First thing it does, it asks for your name. So you put in your name. You can put whatever you want. If you just put in your name, then you get like tracking info for a particular location. But if your name is Greg, then it doesn't say anything. And it just kind of runs in the background.
Well, here's the other option.
And like your phone becomes like a transmitter of sorts.
Well, here's the other thing. I was just thinking, if we can do a quick sidebar real quick, if we can innovate the idea a little bit. There is this like, I think that if it's only Greg Go, we're limiting the market. Because the Greg market is inelastic.
Right.
What I'm thinking is, Julian, is what we do is every day we pick a random name, and then so like on Tuesday,
so it's like a live service kind of like we have like
it's a live service.
Okay, Interesting.
So like one day it would be like Kwite Go.
Right. So there's like a new
And
there's like a
then-
new guy to get every time you put up the
Yeah.
app. And that
And you would be so
people
excited.
keep coming back.
Yeah.
Dude, you're onto something.
No, it's like Kwite, you understand.
I unfortunately do,
Yeah.
which is the worry.
So
Yeah.
So are you on a MagFest this year? Have we figured that out yet?
Yes, I'm
Okay, so I need you to imagine, right? Like MagFest next year, we do a panel, right? And it's like it's whatever. It doesn't matter what the panel is, but at the end of the panel, we tell everyone like, hey, so side note, we're working on this new app, right? And there's like an in-browser version you can just use right now. You just got to give it like some location permissions. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Go to
just put your name in. Yeah, greg.go.
You're all right here. It doesn't matter.
By the way, we do not ask for your age because we don't want to know whether or not we're violating COPPA.
Well, it's not really like up to us. If you like, it's an opt-in thing.
Well, yeah,
we're
that's
at
how that
MagFest.
works.
So we're at MagFest, and we just like you just imagine
dressed like Steve Jobs,
yeah, we roll it out,
black
and,
turtleneck.
and the Gregs need to go.
That's what we're saying.
I feel like we got something here, right?
I honestly do like this. I think you should switch the ordering.
That's not the answer you were supposed to give.
I think that's hey, keep going.
I think you should switch between, instead of Greg Go, it's Go Greg. It feels encouraging, but the premise remains the same.
Interesting. Oh. So
Greg.
what here's
gonna
another
get
thing
you.
that's interesting. As long as we're in the
Or
as long
go
as we're in
get
this
Greg.
space, we're in the live service space. What we could do is we could invert it. So it's Greg, just get anybody today. You know? All the Gregs.
okay.
Go, Greg. Go find a guy and then get him.
So it's greg.get now.
Greg get. So what we'll do is we'll run these in parallel, and we'll do the thing like where you start, you launch it in Russia exclusively or like South Korea exclusively as like a market test.
Somewhere with like, we can look into the legislation later. Yeah.
And that's going to present a problem with us because I'll tell you one thing for damn sure, not a lot of Gregs in South Korea.
You'd be
But
no, I
surprised.
don't think that's a problem.
A lot of
I did-
tourists.
hey, we're just like zeroing in on a user base. I don't think that's
It's
bad.
a more- it's a- right.
There's value in specificity. If we get a
Because
big
what-
user
I
base,
tell you,
then-
here's what's gonna fucking happen is that like some father of three is gonna get off his flight, and then a lot of people are gonna get a notification.
Well, it's like, do you want it to be specifically Greg, or are you trying to like test the concept in South Korea
I
specifically?
think Greg is
who's
like
the guy
a
who
starting
just
point. We like
if
Yeah.
you're doing it in South
oh,
Korea?
It's like, okay, so you know how live service games will like have like a core gameplay, but they'll also have like other stuff that goes in and out of rotation. Greg is like the core part of the app, and
Right.
the other facets can come in and out of rotation on a daily basis.
Personally, I'm big on like the localization aspect where South Korea just had a coup. Like, make it the guy who
Right.
just did the coup. Get him.
They almost had a
Well,
coup.
it didn't work, but it was a coup.
Okay.
I tell you, listen, if they had Greg go, that coup would have worked.